If you want more content from We Studios, check us out at WePodcast.com, where you can find episodes of our Simpsons podcast, Worst Episode Ever, or our commentary series, Sync Points. And if you want to support the show,
you can click through our Amazon links. That's WePodcast.com. You click the Amazon links, shop on Amazon like you normally would, and we get a small percentage.
Thanks, guys.
This episode of 90s Percentile is brought to you by our buddies at Jock.com. That's JOQ.com. Jack, do you remember internet in the 90s?
Well, I got internet in September of '99, so
highly specific.
Sort of.
Yeah.
I remember it was because it was the same day the West Nile outbreak started killing people in New York.
All right, hopefully that comes up as a topic on today's episode, but we're talking about Jock.com right now. Jock.com is an online business solutions. They host websites. They'll make apps. They'll develop websites. Anything you want to do with the internet that you couldn't do in the 90s.
Yeah, no, there were no apps in the 90s. There were apps, but they were
appetizers.
Uno,
yeah. You would get wings and Maz sticks and all that good stuff. Jock.com, as far as we know, isn't selling appetizers, but they will make apps. And if you call them and you're very polite, maybe they'll make you some mozzarella sticks. We can't be sure, but we thank Jock.com. If you need any help with your websites, with any sort of digital solutions, JOQ.com, they're going to help you out, and we thank them for sponsoring today's show.
60 minutes are on the clock. It's straight out of We Studios. This is 90s Percentile. My name is Jack.
My name is Dan, and we're talking everything 90s and maybe also everything before and after the 90s.
That's right, and with us today is Harry Nelson from HarrySaysYes.com. How's it going, Harry?
Great, guys. What's going on, homeboys? I heard it's a fun podcast, so I should start calling
it homeboys. It is a fun podcast.
Fun podcast,
you're right.
we call each other homeboys.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
We're wacky like that.
You're a good guest, Harry.
Dan, what's our first topic of today?
Our first topic today is this very show that you're listening to in your ear holes. This is 90s Percentile. You probably figured that out if you actually downloaded it and are listening to it. And this is a show where we're going to take your 90s topics. Yes, you can suggest your topics on our website, which doesn't exist yet, but will by the time you're listening to this.
Yeah, this is our one. We should say this is our fifth
This is one of our
test
test shows that we're recording before we actually started to
make sure that we're making the right decision here by actually doing this thing.
I'm here to prove that wrong.
So
we're taking this podcast down with me.
We don't know where this will end up in our final run of episodes. Could be first, could be second,
right.
could never air.
This may never be. It could be the 73rd episode where we're just like, we don't want to record one this week. Let's get that Harry one out of the dumpster. But what we're doing here today is we have a list of 90s topics, and we are going to choose them randomly and just talk about them and see where the conversation leads, and then maybe get a few more topics in.
And maybe at the end of the episode, at the end of the hour, we will have fully understood the decade that is the 1990s.
We're trying to
understand thing.
From January 1st, 1990 to December 31st, 1999. That's our purview.
Actually, just those 2 days.
Yeah, those two are the most important days of the 90s, actually. If you think about it.
Don't think about it.
The Berlin Wall came down one of those days.
Did it on January 1st?
Nope. That's the kind of things you won't learn about on this podcast.
All facts, very knowledgeable, very informative podcast we're doing here.
Yes, but we want your suggestions, so go to our website, wherever it is, and put them in. And let's get started with our first real topic. We're going to just randomly pick one right now, and it is one that we did before. Another one that we did before.
You didn't take out the old ones?
We did. We probably should have taken out the old ones.
This is a test show.
And also,
just want to repeat, this is a test.
Thanks for having me on your
podcast. We also did not mention that we do not edit the show. We have a timer in studio.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
We started 60 minutes on the clock as soon as we started recording.
If you listen to our Simpsons podcast, our famous tagline, phrase, our catchphrase is cut all this, because we go on and ramble. You might have noticed. I would say that the catchphrase for this one is cut none of this, because we can't. It's live.
Yes.
Live to card.
So here we go with our first real suggestion. It is extreme sports.
Oh, boy.
Very, very broad topic, extreme sports. We're all big athletes, clearly.
In our podcast studio.
Yes.
On our TV trays of fruit.
There's no actual fruit. There's fruit painted on the TV screen, which is the more extreme way to do it.
So I guess they did the exports and stuff like that. That did become big in the 90s, right?
X Games.
So that's how much I know.
The old exports. Exports. Very different from exports.
Imports, exports, they're all good.
Yeah.
It seems to be a 90s thing, right?
Just like the Imp games are different from the X Games.
I guess it probably did start in the 80s. We'll look up some info there. But it's what? It's you got your biking.
Oh, no. Yeah, you got your biking, tandem biking,
I actually
rollerblading.
penny farthing bikes, I think, were the most extreme bikes. That's the ones with the giant wheel. Yeah.
I would totally watch like a live
Extreme penny farthing.
Extreme penny farthing. I would totally watch the hell out of that.
How would that even work? I don't know. We're gonna do that. We're gonna once this is a big hit and we have a ton of money.
We can afford insurance.
Yeah, we're gonna get extreme penny farthing going. But no, extreme sports I think is kind of just generally talking about like skateboarding and rollerblading, and anything where you wore neon while you were doing it in the 90s.
Crazy bike style with all the pegs and they're riding with their bike.
BMX is a bike thing.
Yeah, absolutely. That's it.
Stunt biking. Were razor scooters? Are those extreme sports?
That's not 90s. That's 2000s.
Oh, okay.
You typed extreme in all caps into Wikipedia.
It was a happy accident. Actually, I do have a history with extreme sports. One of the very first Nintendo NES games I got in the early 90s, was California Games.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Excite Bike, and I got Excite Biked.
No, it was California Games, and because I only owned 3 or 4 games at the time, you would play those games very, very often, before you build up your library. So I pretty much just played Duck Hunt, Super Mario Brothers, Paperboy, and California Games. And it was 8 games in California, I guess, and I guess they were considered the extreme sports, and you
only have 8 games in California.
Yeah, and you even like pick a sponsor at the beginning of the game, like Milton Bradley or Santa Cruz Skateboards. I guess I've never
chose Milton Bradley.
Clearly, it was the first one out of your mouth.
I did always choose that one, and I never really thought about it until now. But I guess that's what they were going for. Was they were extreme sports. So you had BMX biking, you had surfing. But then you had half-pipe skateboarding.
Yep.
But then you also had roller skating on the boardwalk, and footbag, which I guess
hacky sack, right?
I guess it's like single-player hacky sack where you do stunts. Like you could do a triple axel where you kick the bag in the air, spin 3 times, and then catch it with your foot.
There's nothing sadder that I can think of right now than young Jack playing California Games, sponsored by Milton Bradley, playing one-person foot sack. I did a triple axel, mommy.
Now, what I've noticed about nostalgia and reminiscing is that time felt a lot longer back then because your life was shorter, and it's the opposite effect of how now the year just seems to blow by.
Yep.
So I want to say I've devoted thousands of hours to that game, and by the way, it's not true that if you do something for 10,000 hours you become good at it, because I never got good at the game.
No,
but I want to say I probably played the single player footbag the most out of the 8 sports.
Really? Of course you did.
And what's funny was the animation style. It was like you could tell if you were a man or a woman. It was the names.
No, wait a
of the
minute.
stunts.
Is this while you're playing the game? You're so ensconced in the game. You're like, I've lost all sense of gender identity. I don't know if I'm a man or not.
That's exactly what I'm talking about.
That's what I thought. Let's just say, have any of you actually played any sort of extreme sport? Like snowboarding, I think is considered an extreme sport.
I've never skied. I've never snowboarded. I've never ice skated. I've never had ice skates on my feet.
You've never ice skated?
I've never ice skated.
Just going around a circle on the rink? That's pretty extreme.
No, I've never done it.
I've roller skated on like a rink at a birthday
party. Yeah, I guess I've
rollerbladed.
I've never done that either. I have roller skated on the boardwalk. I lived off the boardwalk.
Now both in real life and in the California
and I did
games.
have rollerblades, and I got somewhat. I didn't kill myself with them, but I honestly preferred my roller skates because they were so much easier, and so I remember I was like rollerblading. I was like, you know what? Roller skates are just a lot easier. So I would put on my old roller skates that I had outgrown like 4 years earlier, and they would just like constrict my feet and hurt so bad. But I just preferred them.
But they look so good. It was just
they were totally 90s. They had like red wheels and like neon green on them.
Oh man!
I always wanted to skateboard, but I would always just fall down.
Yeah, I don't think I would have been a good skateboarder at all.
No, I think it partially came
from... a lot harder than it looks.
Yeah, I got a skateboard for Christmas. I don't know what my parents were thinking when I was...
They wanted you to break your neck.
Yeah, I was 8, I think. I think it was 92. And I got this green skateboard, and I didn't use it once. It stayed out on my, in my backyard for 22 years. I don't know how, with weather and everything, but then I started dating Missy, the girl I live with now, my girlfriend, and she's a very avid skateboarder and surfer. She's be much better for this conversation right now, but we don't let our significant others on the show.
I do extreme girlfriending though, because I'm married. It's always extreme with my girlfriend.
Yeah, no. So she took my skateboard. She's like, "Can I have this?" I'm like, "I guess I'm not using it." And I was just amazed that after 22 years, I forgot about it. I found it in the.
Did it still work?
It's wobbly. I don't know if you could proficiently use it, but it still has 4 wheels and rolls.
Because when you said that you got it and
It's
left
right
it out
there.
for 22
It's hanging
years,
on the wall of Wii Studios.
I just assumed you left it outside on the porch, and it
Yeah.
was almost like a science experiment. Like, how decayed can it get in 22
I mean,
years of disuse?
It wasn't intentional, but yes, that's what I was doing.
Well, how decayed can it get in 22 years of disuse?
You can look at it. It's
I'm
not for
not
an
gonna-
audio podcast. It's not the best, but it's
Guys, I'm looking
splintered.
at it, and it is in perfect condition, so you can leave your things outside, and nothing will go wrong.
Guys, I'm sorry for you listeners. This is an audio podcast. What I suggest you guys do is look this up on YouTube yourselves. But real quick, just to give Harry and Dan an idea of what I'm talking about, I found a YouTube video of footbag.
Footbag with all tricks. This is on YouTube. Maybe
I'm
we'll
gonna show
put
you
this on
guys
our
this
website.
video.
7,000 views.
So it's just a person bouncing a ball on top of their head.
This looks
They spin.
thrilling.
Oh,
Axel Foley.
The Golden Gate
from-
Bridge is in the background.
Oh, don't hit the bird.
You can hit the bird, and that was one of the better things I was good at.
was it good to hit the bird or bad to hit
I
the
think
bird?
you got points. Maybe you lost points. I didn't quite understand the concept of negative points at the time.
This is this character who's doing this footbagging looks very scared. I know you guys can't see it, but his
kinda
face is
looks
just
it kind of looks like Munch's Scream.
yeah, a little bit, but in short shorts.
I like
Light
all
purple
the,
short
Wait,
shorts.
Scream wasn't in short shorts?
The
well,
first print was
the names of the moves. So he's
Oh,
the
yeah.
headbanger,
Headbanger.
the dizzy,
Dean.
I think there's an Axel Foley. Oh,
there
no.
was. It came up. Axel Foley.
There was, right? Yeah, this is what I'm talking about. I'm not sure if that's a man or a woman, though.
I'm gonna guess a man, but you know what? We don't discriminate.
Yeah, it could be.
So anyway, that's that. So that's what I played
Skip
thousands
it.
and thousands of hours.
I mean, I guess my only real connection to extreme sports in the 90s would be Tony Hawk's Pro Skater for PlayStation. The first 3, which were these phenomenal games.
Yeah.
Did you ever play them or no?
I played one of them for GameCube, and I would play them in your house, but I just those kinds of games I'm just not good at. I'm not
Right.
good at sports, and I'm not good at video game sports.
Yeah. Have you ever played those games, Harry?
I played them at like friends' houses. I think I rented them a couple times, but I
Yeah.
never got. I know people got really into them and really. loved
I
them.
got really, really into them, but they were as far removed from actual skateboarding as this
Yeah.
footbag game is from anything that has to do with California.
I don't know what this says about me, but the video games I like to play, like I don't like
You
to
prefer
play,
killing
I
things,
don't
let's
like,
be honest,
Well, I
Jack.
don't like it when it's
Get
work.
your rage out.
I don't like when it's work. When you really have to practice and get good at it. So like those time trial games where basically you have to repeat the level over and over and get really good at it.
Right.
Those skate games where you have to really get those.
You have
those-
to master
those
the
moves.
tricks, and you have to know where all the things are.
Even games like
Yeah.
Mortal Kombat, I was a button master. I didn't want to bother learning the moves. I wanted to
Right.
get a game where you turn it on, you go from left to right, you hit the question marks, you jump on a couple of Goombas, and you beat it. Like those were the games I got a kick out of.
Right.
And like even now, when I find time to play, I usually will only play like Call of Duty because I can play for 10 minutes, get in a match, get out. And I'm okay at Call of Duty, but I'm not like one of those master snipers who can take somebody out from. To me that's work. I play NHL, or I used to play. And that was my favorite video game. I love hockey. I love playing hockey. I was actually pretty good at it. And I was on a team with a friend of the show, Jeff, and we would play online with other people. And he basically wanted me to practice and like let's learn some moves and let's do that. It's like, then it's work. Then it's a job.
Yeah, right.
I don't.
That's not extreme. That's just sports.
I guess maybe that's why I never played sports, because if you're going to be on a football team or a little league team, you have to go to practice. And to me, practice defeats the whole purpose of leisure.
Yeah, right. Huh. So I'm looking at the Wikipedia page for extreme sports right now, and something I didn't even think of is extreme vehicle sports, like off-road racing,
Yeah, well, that was
water
the first
skiing,
that thing popped in my head. Was
motocross. I
was
didn't even think of
motocross.
motocross.
Yeah.
Yeah. What you guys ever done motocross?
Yes, I'm an avid motocross.
Oh, okay. This is good, Harry. So what's your favorite thing about motocross?
I like to cross all the moto as many motos as I can cross is like a good session for
So
me.
that's how motocrosses work. You have to cross all the motos
Yep.
before the time runs out.
Yeah,
It's a lot like the game Perfection.
it's very extreme.
I'm looking up the Wikipedia article on our big screen here.
Yeah.
And there's a section called mortality, which makes sense. But briefly, I thought it said morality, and that got me thinking, like, what is the morality of extreme sports?
Yes. It's the morality.
Like, is it the right thing to do? If you're on a BMX course,
Is it just to rollerblade?
if you're on a BMX course and you're about to hit an innocent child, but no, you're about to hit 5 innocent children. But if you
Right, if
veer
you
off the
swerve.
road, you'll only hit 1. What is the right thing to do? You ever hear that thought experiment?
I wasn't listening. The one argument to qualify the extreme sport, both of these expressions must be fulfilled.
So it literally says one argument to qualify as an extreme sport, both in bold expression terms need to be fulfilled.
I didn't realize extreme sports were so specific.
Sport, the participation in a sport or whatever, and then the other one is extreme. So it needs to be both.
So for an extreme sport to qualify as an extreme sport, it has to be both a sport and extreme.
But wait a minute, the definition of it being extreme is that poor execution of the activity has to result in considerable risk of serious physical harm.
Oh, that's not extreme. That would be like saying surgery is
badly,
extreme.
but that's not a sport, Jack. If you don't have to.
But even if it's not a sport,
actually,
by
this
definition,
definition of sport actually would kind of apply to surgery. It's just saying participant has to dispose of considerable skill and/or physical ability to avoid poor execution.
So are we saying that triple bypass surgery is an extreme sport?
I think we are. We're taking a stance. Yeah, the X Games are going to add it next year.
I would watch. Sponsored by Milton Bradley. So like a guy just getting triple bypass surgery on like a dirt road.
Yeah. Wow.
Well, no, but back to the morality experiment. So there's a famous morality experiment. If there's like what is it? 5 kids are trapped on a train track, and you're there at the switch, and you can switch the train onto another track, but it'll definitely hit another innocent person. So basically, you're saving 5 people, but you have to choose to murder this other person.
The Spider-Man quandary.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
So,
Harry, we didn't come here to talk about the 90s. This is actually just a ruse to get you to talk about morality philosophy with us.
Well, this is not 90s, but what's really interesting that I've been reading about is that these thought experiments are actually relevant now because self-driving cars are being built. They're being fine-tuned. They're pretty much getting ready to be on the road the next decade or so. And this is something that they have to program. They basically have to program the AI of a car to go, okay, in this situation you do this. If there's a car in front of you that stops short, you have to stop short.
Like they're programmed for least damage and loss of life.
Right, exactly. So now they have to program for, okay, you're definitely going to hit 5 people. You have to swerve out of the way, but you will hit somebody else who wouldn't be hit otherwise.
Right.
Now they have to program that. They have to come up with these have always been thought experiments.
Yeah.
Now you actually have to pretty much come up with answers to these unanswerable questions because the computer needs it. The computer can't be open-ended. And
computers don't have their own morality.
But basically they've hit a roadblock because the car companies don't want to put answers in there. There you go. That's good. No, but the car companies don't want to put answers in there because if they do, and now the car does swerve and hit one person instead of 5 people,
they'll be responsible.
They're liable, and now the family of that one person can sue. So there actually is a chance that these car companies will just go, you know what, self-driving cars aren't happening.
Yeah.
Because of the liability of it. Unless Congress, they're going to have to lobby for laws and stuff that work around it. But it's really funny because we've had these thought experiments for decades, if not centuries, and now because of self-driving cars, we have to kind of answer them. It's really I just thought that was fascinating to bring up. I think that's a very interesting quandary, and I'm glad I'm not part of the process. Although I can't wait for self-driving cars. Not only am I bad at extreme sports, I'm bad at driving.
Right. I think building the self-driving car is the ultimate in extreme sports because it's both extreme and it is a sport.
Poor execution of the activity will result.
Serious physical harm.
Yeah. So thank you, Apple and Tesla and all these other these smart car builders, because you are truly extreme sportsmen.
There's a list of extreme sports. I don't know if this is the official list of extreme sports on the Wikipedia page.
They got classification down right, so I'll give Wikipedia the benefit of the doubt with everything else.
So here's some interesting ones. Scuba diving. That's an extreme sport. Is it really a sport? Or is it you just go look for fish?
I mean, by their super broad definition, it is.
Is that on TV? Can you watch
I think it's part of the X Games. You just go scuba diving. Flow riding. I don't know what that is. I'm assuming it's the same as Flow Rider, the singer-songwriter.
The singer-songwriter.
Is this flow riding? This picture here, when you have those, when you're parachuting and you have those sail suits?
Wind sailing?
Scroll down a bit and read the caption.
Wingsuit flying, that's what that is.
Oh, okay.
Wingsuit flying is a recent activity. Thanks, Wikipedia.
This is a good time to bring up...
That's a great page.
So this is a good time to bring up the new Point Break remake.
Is it?
Yeah.
Is there ever a good time to bring up a...
I haven't seen it. It looks terrible, but I want to defend it a little bit because it's getting such overwhelming negative criticism.
I haven't seen it. You haven't seen it. Is there any amount of surfing in it, or is it just
yes,
like?
Yeah, there's extreme surfing in it actually, and like tidal waves and stuff.
Because I saw the trailer and it seemed like there was no surfing whatsoever.
So,
it just seemed like rock climbing.
The trailer is why I want to talk about it. So I saw the trailer last night when I was at the movies, and this is what. And while I was watching the trailer, I was so bored that I started having thought experiments, and I was thinking about.
You were designing a self-driving car while watching the trailer for Point Break.
Like, oh, this is how you do it.
Yeah, this is how you do it.
It's 90s Percentile
podcast, guys.
So here's how I want to defend Point Break. So supposedly, I haven't seen it again, but it's a terrible movie. What people
has it even come out as the time of we're recording this?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
You're defending it really well, by the way. You're starting with it's a terrible movie.
So if you look at the trailer, there's like scenes of like entire mountains exploding, and it's big, epic action destruction.
That sounds like an awesome movie.
It's basically like the big, epic destruction that has become the modern blockbuster. And people are saying that's not what Point Break's about. Point Break is a story about like an FBI guy.
Right, it was a homosexual drama between Johnny Utah, and whatever Patrick Swayze's name was.
The 1990 movie is or 91. Keanu Reeves and Patrick Swayze. Keanu Reeves is undercover and goes and. Patrick Swayze is a surfer who's also a criminal, and they bond, and then Keanu Reeves, is conflicted. So anyway, last summer I watched all the Fast and Furious movies in a row. Just to run the series and see what that was like. Yeah. And when I was watching the first Fast and the Furious, I realized it was basically a modern day Point Break. It's the exact same story.
Oh, the first one is almost a remake of Point Break.
Basically
it's the same exact thing. Huh.
So this is how I want to defend the new Point Break remake, which is not at all like the original Point Break. It's this big, dumb action spectacle. So Fast and Furious is nothing like Furious 7. Furious 7 is a big, dumb action spectacle. And actually, it's one of my favorite of the series because you can turn your brain off completely and just go, duh. And like it's fun because you're just looking at these crazy stunts. There's a stunt where a car drives through a skyscraper in Dubai and lands on another skyscraper that's like across the street. And so I was thinking, if they had made Point Break 2, which they never did, and then made Point Break 3, and then 4,
the 90s
5,
version
6,
of Fast and the Furious.
7, eventually you would have gotten to that point anyway. So this is what I just want to say to the detractors of Point Break. I'm sure it's a terrible movie, but it's really just basically being the Furious 7
of the 90s.
Yeah, it's basically not even the 90s. Even if they made it today in 2015, if you made it in the 90s, it wouldn't be that. It's basically representing what dumb action blockbusters are now, which are very different from what they were in 2000 when Fast and Furious came out.
So I have 2 points that I want to make here. One is that the Point Break remake did come out and was a catastrophic failure.
Yeah, everybody hates it.
It's very, very low rated on Rotten Tomatoes. It made like $9 million at the box office.
I think one of the big things is that
I'm sure that's common knowledge to you, listener.
I don't know who's playing Bodhi, but it was originally supposed to be Gerard Butler, and it's very hard to fill Patrick Swayze's shoes, and it looks like this unknown guy is not doing the job.
Yeah, I don't know who was in there. But my other point that I want to make, I would have loved if Point Break did turn into like the Fast and the Furious series of the 90s, and eventually you just have Patrick Swayze with a shaved head in the
Well, he did have a shaved head at the end.
Oh, no. I'm just imagining him in the Vin Diesel role being like, family.
His voice was slurring at the end.
Oh, Jesus.
That's gracious. I love insider knowledge about the final days of Patrick Swayze.
I was saying, baby.
Were you friends with Patrick Swayze?
No, he did not like the things I was saying about him.
I don't wonder why. But that was a pretty extreme life that Patrick Swayze lived.
No, but Point Break could have easily, if they did an entire series where it just got dumber and dumber with every iteration.
If they did other sports in like follow-up movies, like Point Break 2 is like a motocross movie.
Oh, and like Fast and Furious and Point Break are both movies about an undercover guy trying to solve a string of bank robberies. The later Furious sequels are not that at all. They've become like heist movies and big. It's more. It's
right. No, I know they're action and heist movies.
Yeah, exactly. So I could see Point Break after 7 iterations turning into that. Even without the 7 iterations, basically 2015, 2016 Furious movie compared to the first Furious movie is what 2016. Like you could.
Is that what we're calling them now? The Furious movies.
Yes, but like,
the Furious franchise.
I'm just saying. I don't think it's a poor remake. I think it's just I'm sure it is a poor remake, but on top of that. It's just a 2015, 2016 movie, and that's how kind of dumb blockbusters are now. They're shitty. They're not very good. We've kind of lost something in block. But there's
Right.
good ones out there, but they've all even like the Marvel movies, which are very well regarded. They even get criticized because they all end the same with a city blowing up.
Right. I want to point out, I'm still looking at the list of extreme sports on the Wikipedia page for extreme sports, and I think that in Point Break 7, the search for more money...
I think I say the search for Bodhi's gold.
The search for Bodhi's gold. Street workout is apparently listed as an extreme sport.
Can we look at
So
that?
that's what that would have been.
Is that when you're speed walking?
On YouTube right now?
What, street walking?
Yeah,
What,
street
not
workout.
not
Street walking, very different. That's Point Break 8. Keanu Reeves needs money.
what's it called?
Street workout
Street
is a
workout.
physical activity performed mostly in outdoor parks or public facilities. It's literally just working out outside.
That's
Apparently-
not an extreme sport.
Apparently that is an extreme sport, according to Wikipedia.
I mean, I was surprised. I don't really know
Guys.
LA culture very often, very well.
Yeah.
But when I was playing Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, I did drive on the beach, and there were dudes just working out. And I was
Yeah.
like, "Is this? I bet you in LA, that's a thing. People
Venice
just
Beach,
working out on the
people just
beach."
Go there and lift
Guys,
stuff.
We're going to do the world a favor. I'm going to delete street workout from the extreme sports page. I'm going to do it right now.
Okay, so what do you guys want to look at here? I just YouTubed it. There's street workout. It's a lifestyle workout motivation. There's epic street workout, and there's best street workout and calisthenics explosive. I think let's go with epic street workout.
Yeah.
One last point while this is loading. Another connection between the Furious movies and the Point Break.
All right, it's official. Street workout is no longer an extreme sport. It has been removed from the list.
So there's a scene in the trailer for the new Point Break where they're on a moped or whatever you call those, and it jumps from cliff to cliff. Like it jumps off the mountain and lands on another mountain. That is a shot for shot the same from Furious 7 of the car going through the Dubai Towers.
Can we pause for a second?
Yeah.
You haven't seen the Point Break remake.
I'm going by the trailer.
It really sounds like you've seen it. Like you're talking very in depth about what it is.
I'm going from
Also,
the trailer.
you're defending. I've never heard anyone defend something by only saying negative things about it.
Very good.
I
Do
did-
you want to see the Point Break movie, and you need like friends to go with you? Because we'll see it with you,
Trying
Jack.
to lightly bring it up.
I'm just trying to justify
You keep
why
bringing
it's
everything
being
back
bad.
to the Point Break
I'm
remake.
just trying to justify why it's bad. Here's Epic Street Workout. It's a guy on monkey bars doing push-ups,
Yeah,
pull-ups,
sideways
pull-ups.
pull-ups.
I mean, it's very impressive.
It's very impressive. Extreme sport, I think not.
Well,
There's no
it's
sports
it's
to
not
this.
a Wikipedia page anymore, so that's
Are
fine.
they playing
Like-
the floor is lava? Because then if the floor is lava is
That
an
could be-
extreme
that could be
sport,
pretty extreme.
then there's finally an extreme. Can we add floor is lava to the list of extreme
Yeah, we
sports on
absolutely
Wikipedia?
can. We absolutely can.
A podcast about defaming Wikipedia pages.
That may be what it turns into. We'll see.
What else? Before we move on to our next topic, anything else we want to say about extreme sports?
Extreme.
I do want to look
floor
up what's flow riding.
Is
Flow riding
Oh,
is
it's like surfing in a
thing?
wave pool.
all right. Fair enough.
Go with the flow.
X pogo is that a pogo? Is that extreme pogoing? Pogo stick?
X Pogo is a thing, but now if you look on the Wikipedia
yeah, I've seen that, I've
page,
seen that.
you will see extreme. The floor is lava.
Can we take? Where is it? I want to take a
It's on
screenshot
the
before that's
official.
taken down.
The official extreme. The official. It's on the extreme
Oh
sports.
man, can we
Wikipedia
please
page.
do a live 90s percentile from Pogapalooza 2016?
Oh, you mean the X Pogo World Championship Series?
Of course, that's what I mean. Ice,
I think you have to refresh.
ice canoeing. Doesn't it is that how Wikipedia works? I've never edited a page before.
What's power balking?
Damn!
Nice.
It doesn't have its own.
There's no actual page for Extreme The Floor is Lava, so it's red right now. We'll see how long this actually
Wait.
stays
Well,
up.
can we just create an article so it's not red?
You
Can
could
we?
probably link.
We can do a lot of
Floor is
things,
lava.
but we also are recording a podcast
All
at the
right,
moment.
all right. Later, maybe we'll make it a.
I will say this
Extreme the
is
Floor is Lava.
not the first time I've defamed a Wikipedia page. A few years ago, I changed the Sinbad page to say that his original name was Sin Good, but it didn't test well, so he changed it to Sinbad.
How long did that stay up?
It stayed up for a few weeks, actually.
So somebody saw that and was like, "This isn't right."
Someone has defaced Sinbad's Wikipedia page.
It was Sinbad.
Maybe it was Sinbad. I didn't mean any harm, Sinbad. I'm actually a big fan.
Yeah.
I like First Kid.
I was surprised when you said you were going to defame Sinbad. You're,
I didn't defame Sinbad. I made him better. I made him sin good.
You made him sin better.
That's right.
Should we move on to another topic?
It's Sinbad.
I mean, we could talk about roller derby. Apparently, that's an extreme sport.
Roller derby is where they go around in a circle and elbow each other, right?
Yeah. And
Yeah, well-
they all have sassy names.
Yeah,
Right.
That's actually seems like a lot of fun. Is it only a women's sport, or is there a male roller derby?
There's probably male roller
There's probably
derby.
male roller-
Let's look at the Wikipedia page for roller derby. I don't know why I said it that way. The picture is of women.
What's power balking?
It was invented by men.
Will you find out what power balking is?
Power balking?
Power balking.
I think it's when you do impressions of chickens.
It's
Like, "Quack!" And you're
Wait a minute.
And whoever does like the best power bach, like you want to sound like the Alpha Chicken. Hey, that's like the Cadbury commercial.
Hang on a second. Actual power balking seems even more ridiculous. It's
I like that
basically
now you have to delineate it as actual power
it's
balking.
basically extreme stilts.
Yeah.
It's running around on like
Pogo
moon
stilts.
boots, basically.
Oh, that seems like fun though.
It seems like fun.
I wish I was capable of doing
Jumping
these
stilts
things.
were used in the closing ceremony of the 2008 Olympic Games.
Yeah, I've seen people power back before. It's actually pretty sweet.
Okay.
On
So
the-
we're now 3 avowed power balking fans.
And we just want to give a shout out to professional power balker Samuel Koch or
no.
Koch, not Koch, I mean, because
Say cock.
because he was heavily
Bucky.
injured during the show Wetten das.
Yeah, he was paralyzed.
Jeez.
Yeah,
that
maybe you
got
shouldn't have
serious.
made, maybe you should have read to the end of the paragraph where it's like he was paralyzed. Yeah, his name's Cock and he does power balking.
I didn't mean the cock. I just thought the name of the TV show was really funny. Wetten das.
Wetten das.
I should have read to the end of the sentence, though. You're right.
I think we should move on to another topic.
Maybe power balking should just be chicken impressions because you're not gonna get paralyzed that way.
Oh no!
What happened?
Few people realize that Christopher Reeve was power balking.
Oh no!
Are we editing this show
Wait,
or no?
No, but we should edit the Wikipedia page and put in that
You only
Christopher
edited
Reeve
it.
was paralyzed during an extreme power balk.
Oh dear, we're not going to do that. We've done enough Wikipedia vandalism for today. So are we done with extreme sports?
Yeah,
You think
yeah.
so?
What we got? We got 30 minutes, 35 seconds left on the clock. What is our next topic?
Our next topic is coming up.
Come on.
Oh dear. It's the Oklahoma City bombing.
Who suggested that for our fun 90s podcast?
It was a friend of yours, because that's where all of the originals came from.
All right. So
Okay, what do we want to say about the Oklahoma City bombing? It took place in Oklahoma City.
All right. Fun fact. Fun fact.
Fun fact about the Oklahoma City
Timothy
bombing.
McVeigh was executed several years later on my birthday. I remember,
Jack, I question your definition of a fun fact.
I remember, like, I woke up, I was going to school, Good Morning America was on. It was June 11th, my birthday. And then the hot topic of the morning was Timothy McVeigh was set to be lethally injected in a few hours. And I was just always like, you know what? I'll always remember that he was executed on my birthday.
Yeah.
Turns out that it's true. I do remember
You never
that.
forgot it. Now, when you turned on the news that day, were you like, I hope they talk about my birthday? And I was like, murderer Timothy McVeigh is going to be killed today.
No, I don't know. I'm a big birthday guy. It's a little harder now in my 30s, but I kind of like, it does feel like a special day.
Yeah.
And I like to tie things to my birthday. I like to see who else has my birthday. Joshua Jackson, Gene Wilder,
Oh, cool.
Jacques Cousteau.
Interestingly, all 3 of them were also domestic
Oh, I was
terrorists.
going to say they were all executed.
Yeah, after they were arrested for their domestic terrorism plots.
Yeah, no. So I didn't have that thought. I just kind of had that. Yeah, I guess that is a bummer. I mean, like I don't know the guy, and it's a kind of, you can't say it's a bad thing he was executed. I am always afraid that something awful will happen on my birthday. Like I feel terrible for people whose birthday is September 11th.
Oh, yeah.
Like
Yeah, I actually had a friend whose birthday was September 11th.
yeah, what do you do? You're done. You can't make it a fun day.
Do you know what birthday was the worst birthday of his life?
September 11th, 2001.
Oh, yeah, that one too.
What?
That was it.
That's fun.
I was just having some fun.
No, it's a good podcast.
Are we
guys.
having fun, guys?
Yeah, it's a good.
I mean,
good
but that just
podcast.
scares me because there's been a few terrorist incidents since then that have they instead of getting another nickname, for lack of a better word, they're called by their day. But nothing has really even come close to 9/11. But like there is a very selfish fear that something so terrible will happen on my birthday that it becomes like 6/11 becomes a bad.
Becomes the new 9/11.
Yeah, and I don't know. That would really.
The odds of it happening on the 11th, I feel like, are just.
Yeah.
I don't know. You might get like
That
some
number's
terrorists
had its number.
going. This is the 15th anniversary and 9 months of 9/11. Now's the time to strike. I don't know. So I feel terrible for people whose birthdays on 9/11.
Yeah, definitely.
Maybe
There were
even
victims there.
like what if there had to have been people?
Even
who,
9/12 is pretty bad.
I mean, there had
The
to,
next day.
Yeah.
there had to have been people who got married that day and planned a huge wedding. Maybe not that many because it's a Tuesday.
It was, yeah,
but,
the middle of the week.
But if you put a year in planning and you put tens and 15s of thousands of dollars into planning this wedding, And 9/11 happened early in the morning. Like, what do? Do you cancel the wedding? I mean, obviously, if you're in New York, probably. But I'm saying if you're in Iowa, California, wherever, you're far from the actual incidents. Like, you put a lot of money into this. You might have relatives flying in. Do you go, you know what? This is a shitty, horrible day, but we got to get married.
Listeners, if you were married on 9/11, we want to hear from you.
I would love to see the wedding videos. Like, are people, like, just sadly dancing on the day? Like, please welcome to the dance floor. I mean, it's, like, not funny to joke about these things, but these are things that had to have happened, and it's just
right.
It's interesting to think about.
Yeah. Well, here's an interesting thing. I'm looking at the Wikipedia page for the Oklahoma City bombing.
Cool.
Please don't defame. Please don't put.
He was an avid powerbacker.
Timothy McVeigh loved powerbacker. No, I thought this was interesting that 258 or 324 buildings were damaged.
Oh, wow.
That's a hell of a bomb.
That is a lot of buildings.
Causing an estimated $652 million worth of damage.
That's crazy. Like, so the bomb was obviously...
I don't want to be like, I'm Mr. New York City fancy man who talks like he's a Southern lawyer for some reason. But I didn't realize that Oklahoma City even had 324 buildings.
That's true, too. I remember I went to Lincoln, Nebraska once, and it had one building. It had, like, one skyscraper. And by skyscraper, I mean, like, 10 stories.
It was Mega City Lincoln.
That's crazy because obviously the bomb was super powerful. It blew up half the building, and it's like that famous shot of the, what was it, the FBI building? Or
it was
anyway, it looked, it had that front face
building
where you could see all the rooms, it looked like cubicles almost.
Yep.
So I could see the bomb being that explosive, but even if the entire building was surrounded by other buildings and they all took the brunt, it's shocking to me, like 300, like what buildings are getting damaged? That makes me wonder about 9/11 again, because the World Trade went down. It was such crazy force that it completely destroyed a few buildings around it. The other World Trade Center buildings. There were other buildings across the street that got destroyed or heavily damaged.
Now, Harry, not every episode is about 9/11 on this podcast.
My point is, how many buildings were destroyed in New York? Was it 300 something too? Like, I mean, damage.
The damage. I mean, a lot of the surrounding buildings had damage,
but
300.
That's such a high number.
Well,
what's damage? Like,
this was also an explosion, whereas 9/11 wasn't a bomb.
But the collapse had the force of an explosion.
Right, but it wasn't a propulsive type thing. I mean, it propelled like debris, but not. Yeah, I don't know.
Just 300 is a crazy number.
I feel like we're verging a little bit off of our podcast message.
Whatever. People are adults. They can handle it.
Right? It's interesting to note.
No, this is a lot of fun.
Timothy McVeigh was executed by lethal injection on June 11th, 2001.
2001.
Yeah.
Oh wow, 3 months.
So it was only 3 months before 9/11.
What did I turn there? What was 2001? 17. My 17th birthday.
That's actually kind of late. Because the Oklahoma City bombing was 95.
Yeah, death row, I feel like, is one of those things that drags on.
I remember they executed him in Indiana, which is where I'm from, and it was big. It was a big pride for Indiana. I don't know.
But you guys got him.
Got him! Yeah.
That's I don't know. Since we've already talked enough about 9/11, I won't go into this. But the entire death row industry is very fascinating to me. I don't quite understand how it works, and like why is he in Indiana, and why does it take so long? I mean, I get it, but I don't get it.
I hope you find out someday, buddy.
One day, maybe on my birthday.
You'll get there.
Let's please move on to another topic.
Okay, let's move on to another topic.
And thank you to whoever suggested Oklahoma City for the bombing for our fun 90s podcast.
Yes. The next topic is the Star Wars Special Editions. That is New Hope, Empire Strikes Back,
all right.
Return of the Jedi, Special Editions featuring George Lucas adding a bunch of CGI creatures.
That is broad. And there's multiple Special Editions. They're the ones that came out before the prequels, and then they're the ones that were altered to fit in the prequels.
Before he sold the rights to Disney, who is making a lot of money off of it, George Lucas likes to tinker with his movies and has made a number of changes. But let's say that they are talking about the suggestion
I guess
here
the 90s ones would be the ones before the prequels.
Before the prequels, when they were re-released into theaters. I know I saw at least A New Hope, probably Empire also, in theaters.
I only saw New Hope. I saw it with my mom. I remember I dropped my retainer on the floor of the movie theater, and I did not want to put it back in my mouth because just the idea of being on the floor of the movie theater.
My New Hope is that you washed it before you put it back in your mouth.
I soaked it in peroxide for like 3 days before I put it back in. That's my big memory from. Also, Timothy McVeigh was killed, but that was my big memory from New Hope.
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing with New Hope was that they added in a completely unnecessary scene that was rightfully cut from the movie where Han Solo visits Jabba the Hutt.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And they added in like this terrible looking CGI Jabba the Hutt, and there's like a bit where Han Solo steps on his tail, and Jabba the Hutt's just like, boom. What we needed was more terrible CGI slapstick in one of the greatest
It's
movies
very
ever
interesting
made.
that was scripted. Also, I believe in the script they were assuming Jabba was going to be a human or a
He
humanoid.
was. There was a portly man was playing Jabba the Hutt, and they kind of just over him did the actual Jabba we all
To be
know and
honest,
love.
I wouldn't have. The scene I've recently watched in preparation for the new Star Wars. I did watch the special edition trilogy. I don't mind the scene. It didn't do much, but it is nice to like set up Jabba 2 movies in advance and kind of it makes Han being frozen in carbonite make a little bit more sense.
But isn't it better to just mention Jabba the Hutt as like this thing that Han Solo was playing? You're like, what the fuck is Jabba the Hutt? And then you see him much later, and it's this.
I definitely
slug
like
monster.
it better without, but it's not one of those. It's not Luke it's not Luke falling down the hole and going no. It's not like movie breaking to me.
Wait, what?
In Empire Strikes Back special edition, they add Luke going no as he falls.
Really? Do they really? That's terrible. I don't remember that.
And then Lucas loves that.
And then supposedly, that's why it was part of his rhyming where he likes to have callbacks. That's why then in Sith, Vader goes no. I don't know if he says no or if he screams. Well, there's something when he falls.
He's saying ow.
I forgot about that one.
That was it. In the special edition, they added the line, ow, my hand.
Which I think they actually needed it because is he in pain?
Yeah, you can't tell if his hand cut off.
Did he lose a hand?
I remember one of the first times I watched Empire Strikes Back, I was one of those kids that would just ask a question and just annoy the hell out of my mom. Be like, why is this? Why is this?
I don't believe you.
And I remember saying, why isn't his hand bleeding? And my mom said, well, the lightsaber is so hot that it cauterizes the wound. But there's lots of instances I've noticed in other Star Wars media, including the new Star Wars movie, where you get cut with a blade, a lightsaber, and you bleed. So what's going on?
What instances?
All right, so
Are we talking?
In New Hope, Obi-Wan cuts off somebody's arm in
but you don't see like blood gushing everywhere.
No, but you see blood. It doesn't cauterize the wound.
He's an alien.
So I did think about that. So that was the headcanon I gave. I said,
okay,
he's got tougher skin and couldn't cauterize. But in the new one, what's his face?
No spoilers.
But Kylo Ren gets injured, I think, or even what's his face? The lead guy. Finn. I didn't want to say the black guy, but I did.
And then you did.
You should learn his name. If you want to avoid that, maybe learn his name.
So Finn.
John Boyega, I have met him. He's a very nice man.
Yeah. He seems like a nice guy. So
tall?
He's pretty tall.
Is he? He looks short to me.
He's probably shorter than I am. He was sitting down.
You're a tall
and then
guy.
I'm at Comic-Con after Attack the Block came out, which is a great movie if you've never seen it.
I was a little underwhelmed with Attack the Block. I saw it
Jack
after a lot of hype.
Great movie.
I saw it after a lot of hype.
There was a lot of hype around it. It was good, though.
I was like, yeah, it's good.
It's a great movie.
I didn't say it.
So check it out.
Anyway, maybe Finn, but I think probably Kylo Ren. I feel like somebody in that final climactic lightsaber battle gets cut, and you see blood in the snow.
Okay, I don't remember. I gotta see it again.
I remember. The reason I remember it is I remember thinking, "Oh, look, blood! See, my
he's
theory."
Like hitting his chest to bleed more.
Oh, it's the part. Oh, I know what you mean. Where Kylo Ren finds Luke Skywalker and cuts his dick off, and there's blood spraying everywhere. And Luke is like, "Oh, my dick!
Ow, my dick!" It's a callback to.
Yeah, it's a callback to Empire Strikes Back.
He goes,
He falls.
There
There wasn't even a hole to fall into. It just cuts to him falling into nothingness.
I thought you were gonna say it's the part where Kylo Ren has his first period.
That's much earlier in the film.
And finally becomes a real woman.
That's when The Force Awakens.
That's what The Force Awakens is a metaphor for.
It's just, Why do you think his lightsaber has those little things on the side?
So if I ever have
tampons, I guess.
If I ever have a daughter one day and I have to talk with her, assuming because the mother is out of the picture.
That's a big assumption to make. Okay.
So and I have to be the guy that's like, all right, oh man, I'm a single dad. I got to explain to my young girl Jackina that what it's like, what it means to have your first period.
Just put on The Force Awakens.
So yeah, I'll just say that your force has
Be
awakened.
like Kylo Ren in this movie. Force is strong with this one.
That's your impression of me talking to my daughter, Jackie.
So if you have a heavy flow, does that mean the Force is strong with you?
That's actually Episode 8's title. Star Wars Episode 8, The Heavy Flow.
I'm there. But I think going back to the special editions,
Yeah.
I think probably the most egregious thing, aside from just adding a bunch of CGI crap that walks into the frame for no reason, is in Return of the Jedi when we're in Jabba the Hutt's palace and there is that terrible music number with that CGI horrible like singer. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh,
I can't
the
think of the
kissing
name.
monster.
I forgot about
Not
that.
Salacious Crumb is
Crumb.
Jabba's little monster. I forget what her name is.
No, me and my sister used to
I'm gonna
always
look it up.
called her the kissing monster. She's in the first one, right? Too, A New Hope. Isn't she in the Cantina Band?
Is she?
Oh, maybe. I think
Did they put her in that too?
I thought that's where she was from. Maybe she's just from Jedi.
I forgot about that.
But she's got like a very long, thin snout with big red lips.
It's bothering me that I can't think of her
we used
name.
to always call her the kissing monster. She's actually got a full episode in Star Wars: The Clone Wars, the canon animated series.
Really?
And I remember the voice that they put to her was not at all what I would picture, and I hated it. But she actually dates Zero the Hutt, who is also a Clone Wars character.
Zero the Hutt. Cy Snoodles, that's her name.
Cy Snoodles.
Cy Snoodles. I'm on Wikipedia now.
So she has a Jedi scene?
Yeah, doesn't she sing?
I don't think I've ever seen the special edition Jedi ever.
In the beginning of Return of the Jedi. Yeah, apparently
maybe
she's
once.
not in New Hope. It's just Return of the Jedi.
Oh, I always thought she was in the Cantina scene.
There's the Max Rebo band is the band that's playing at Jabba the Hutt's palace.
And they're the ones that are in the Cantina, right? Max Rebo's band?
I think so,
No,
yeah.
That's something in the Hope Noids or whatever. It's Mort
mind is being-
Glimlin and the Bordy Dords or something.
How
That's
much of
it.
that was real?
The Bordy Dorts.
Because I honestly,
looked it up, that's it.
I honestly can't tell if it's you being silly or if George Lucas thought this was a good name.
The cadence is right. It's like Boom Doob and the Gooba Dudes. Modal nodes. I think it's something in the modal nodes.
I'm looking at it's Figrin Dan and the modal nodes.
Yeah.
Well done, Harry.
And the kind of music they play is called jizz.
Alright, now I have to make sure that's correct. Let's see.
Is it like jazz?
Yeah, but it's jizz.
Was
I'm just gonna Google Cantina jizz and let's see what comes up here.
Was jizz not a slang term?
I don't know.
For semen in the 70s?
I think that's where it came from.
That's where it came from?
Yeah,
Somebody's like, we need a new slang for cum. Why don't we use that music? Why don't we use that music genre from New Hope?
So Harry's correct. There's a whole Wikipedia page on jizz featuring
Please take a screenshot.
subgenres of jizz include the styles of jizzwall and glitz.
Please explain to me what jizzwall is.
Also, Jats was slightly similar to Jizz. Well, Jizzwall has its own Wikipedia page.
Even better than the Wikipedia page, because Star Wars fans have to be the most involved, best fans out there. I'm going to see if there's examples.
This podcast fans, this podcast is the best fans out there. But go ahead.
There you go.
Jizzwale was briefly mentioned in the young reader's novel Jedi Quest: The Dangerous Games, a book for children, which features Jizzwale.
Now, I'm not looking at this page. Is it jizz whale like a
It's Jizzwale. I thought it was just wall.
Like
It's actually-
WHALE, like a sperm?
No, like a whalin'. Like WAIL, like
Oh, I get it. Jizz whale. All right, I want to see if there's an example of jizz whale music.
this form of music should not be confused with the term jizzwhaler, which refers to musicians adept at performing jizz.
I think this might be Star Wars, a jizz whale standard on a Spanish version of Lest FM. Would I be able to play this somehow? The name of it is
Celia, whoa, toopy doopy.
So this has to be a George Lucas Star
I
Wars
don't
thing.
know what this is.
I don't know I don't see a play button anywhere, and nothing is in English. Honestly, this might not be in Spanish. This might all be Star Wars language.
I have no idea what
has-
website we're on or what's happening anymore.
It has one Scrabble and one Uvin.
Scrabble is definitely a term that Last FM uses. You know what's weird about Star
Wait,
Wars?
really?
Yeah,
Yeah, it is.
Scrabble. Your
I've heard
Scrabble
Scrabble.
things.
These are all made-up words.
Not toopy oopy.
Well, my point was that Cy Snoodles was one of the worst additions to Return of the Jedi, a movie that I'm not crazy about to begin with.
You don't like that? It's just a musical number?
It just cuts this music. I'm just going to bring up the damn musical number.
I can't see what's wrong with that. It's scene setting.
No, it's just unnecessary. It's just adding this like wacky CGI monster because
So
you
what
can.
do I know? If Cy Snoodles is not in New Hope and her scene in Jedi is a extra scene from the 90s, why do I know Cy Snoodles so well?
I don't know.
Turn it down because this is Disney.
Oh yeah. See, it just cuts to this just like weird CGI nonsense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think the problem is just the fact that the CGI is so bad.
Yeah, it doesn't
Like if
work.
CGI is
if Lucas
terrible.
had done this now, like where CGI is just maybe it's gradual. Maybe I'm
Is this
gonna
even
eat my
it?
own
This
words.
isn't even it. I
I
don't
think
even know what this
I
is.
think this is Clone
This might
Wars.
be from Clone Wars.
Great. You're talking about the bad CGI.
Well, all right, whatever.
I was pretending to look because the glare was I couldn't actually see the screen.
We're a very professional podcast.
I really just want to find an example of jizz whale music, but I'm having a lot of trouble here.
All right, let's see if I can find some jizz whale. I'm Googling jizz whale, and we're getting put on some sort of FBI list. You got it?
No, it's...
Who has the jizz whale?
Who has the...
I mean, there's somebody on Reddit who says, I'm really starting to like the genre.
All that's coming up, I searched a YouTube search, is just there's someone called jizz whale.
Does anybody have any good jizz I can listen to? That's the topic.
There's a YouTube link.
As long as it's got that sweet cantina feel.
What are these words? Dindane and Yunners. Are those is
are
that Reddit speak? Or?
No, I think those are just the people.
I don't understand the internet. All right, this is original Lopty Neck.
Okay,
this is from the movie.
This is
from Jedi.
There she is.
That's Ice Noodles.
But this is from the real movie.
But they like make her dance and shit.
Oh, I remember. She does she's like
a fan dance type thing.
Yeah. So basically, Jizz Whale is just the music that's in the movie. I love that elephant guy.
Oh yeah, what's his name? It's like Max Cool or something.
He reminds me of there's like a weird elephant creature that's also in Swamp Thing 2, Return of Swamp Thing. There was like a weird elephant monster.
You like an elephant monster?
It's appealing. Jizz Whale.
Yeah, Jizz Whale, we learned a lot about Jizz Whale.
I really can't. I'm very frustrated that we can't find more examples of it. If there's any listeners who have them, please put it on our Reddit or whatever. I would love to listen to some Jizz Whale.
Yeah, we want to listen more Jizz Whale.
I just want some jizz in my ears.
Yeah.
That's all we ever want. But generally, we're all fans of Star Wars, right? And do we think that these special
Harry
editions...
just knows all that stuff from hate watching it all these years.
I've seen them all 17 times.
Spent a lot of time on Wikipedia.
Of course. Special editions, step up or step down?
Step down.
Step sideways?
It's what I grew up with. You
grew up with the special editions?
Yeah, the first
Really?
The first Star Wars versions I saw were the special editions.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
We had the last VHS release of the original theatrical ones.
I remember those. It had like a picture of Yoda.
Yoda was on
Darth Vader,
Jedi,
and a stormtrooper.
Mm-hmm. Stormtrooper's on Empire.
And
Darth
I always
Vader's on New
thought
Hope.
the stormtrooper made no sense. Like Yoda and Vader are key characters.
Oh, yeah.
Why would you have a stormtrooper? I guess you don't want a human face. I guess you were going for this.
Do you know why you don't want a human face? It's because they don't want to pay royalties to any of the actors. If they use all of the IP
so
created
you don't have to
for
pay
Star
David
Wars.
Prowse anything or James
David
Earl Jones
Prowse isn't
anything.
there. It's just the face of Darth Vader.
Oh, that's
He's not
interesting.
Darth Vader.
You don't have to pay Frank Oz or whoever built the Yoda puppet.
I mean, I'm assuming that they own.
Okay, all right. So
Lucasfilm
what about
owns
R2D2 C3PO? A stormtrooper is not a character. There's thousands of them.
True, but you can't do Empire with C3PO or R2D2 on the cover.
C3PO's got a plot in Empire. He gets blown up. You're carrying me around. Oh, my eyes don't work. I'm blind. That's my C3PO.
How about Attack of the Clones? Oh, this is such a drag.
So the VHS tapes I had were the 10th anniversary edition. So they were from 86, 87. And those were the ones I grew up on. And they're probably very similar, if not exactly the same, from the VHS you watched.
Yeah,
where
they should be.
They weren't the theatrical versions, because Lucas had been tinkering from the get-go. Mm-hmm. So the special effects were better. The lightsaber special effects were fine-tuned. It says Episode 4 in the scroll. It doesn't just say Star Wars.
Right.
So it wasn't the theatrical version, but it didn't have anything new. It didn't have bad CGI. To me, that's the definitive version, even though that's already a second, third-generation version of the movies. Mm-hmm. So what I got frustrated was they made a very big deal of when the Star Wars DVDs came out. This was before Blu-ray, and people were like, "Oh, finally, you can watch Star Wars on DVD." And it's funny, they say it has the old and the new versions, but it's really just a special edition. And then in the bonus disc, you can watch the theatrical version of each movie. So I wanted to watch the old ones that I grew up with, and I had to go to the bonus and look it up in the menu. It's so non-prominent. It's such a fuck you. So I look it up,
and it's not remastered at all.
And it's not remastered.
Good.
It's not the version I grew up with, because it's not that second, third generation. It's first generation. It's not remastered. The effects are terrible. The lightsabers all over the place. It doesn't say New Hope in the scroll. So to me, there still isn't a DVD, or maybe now there is, but I doubt it, a Blu-ray version of the and I gave away very recently actually the VHSs I grew up with. I don't have them. It's kind of
a mistake.
It's just kind of I have a VCR, but I don't need it. But it's a bummer that I might not ever see the definitive version that I grew up with ever again. It's kind of I probably torrent them if I wanted to, like VHS.
I'm sure they're out there.
Version.
I'm sure they're out there.
But it's kind of sad. I don't know. So when you grew up watching the special edition, Did you have, as a sense, even watching it the first, second, third time, going, "Hey, this Jabba scene is standing out"?
I definitely knew. Like, I was old enough to know that they had, like, they made a big deal of the fact they were adding all this stuff. Like, even the commercials had like the thing with it wiped across and like showed the original version of the cantina.
Oh yeah,
and
I
the other
remember
one.
that.
So like, I knew going in that it was like different.
How old were you?
When the special editions come out?
I think 97 is when it was released.
So I would have been 10.
Okay.
So that's actually kind of, to me, that's late to be getting into Star Wars.
I mean, I must have seen it on TV or whatever, but like that was the first version that we owned, and like all the toys were coming out again. So like I had all the toys relating to the special edition.
I've been seeing a lot of people talk about like watching it with their kids, and they're like, "Which order should we watch them in?" Because we don't want to spoil the Vader thing and everything. And it got me thinking about how I've been watching Star Wars for so long. I started I can't remember the first time I've seen it. I was so young, and it just always been there.
Yeah.
I don't remember the first, second, third time I've watched it. I've just always been there. That I don't remember ever getting the Vader reveal. I don't remember what that feeling was. When they did the reveal, I was probably too young to even be that moved by it.
I actually feel like I don't remember when I first watched Star Wars, but I feel like I had watched Spaceballs several times before I watched Star Wars.
No, not me. I definitely like Star Wars is probably one of the very first movies I ever watched.
Love Spaceballs.
But it's just. It's kind of a bummer because like I wouldn't want to trade in. I love that Star Wars was just always there from the get-go. Like it's just been a part of my DNA since day one. I don't want to trade that in, but I am kind of bummed that I never got that Vader reveal. I'm trying to think of other big, huge like reveals in movies where I was old enough to go, whoa, that's crazy.
Well, at least you got the Force Awakens reveal where
Kylo gets his period.
Luke's dick gets cut off, and Kylo Ren immediately has his period. Yeah.
So that was fun. But yeah, it's
Sixth Sense was a big twist. Remember that? Did you guys see the
Sixth Sense? Was spoiled for me.
Oh, really?
I was like, I'm never going to see this movie, and someone told me, and then I went to see the movie, and I was like,
I saw it I've been lucky with a few movies. I saw Sixth Sense a good 2-3 years after it finally came out, and I managed to avoid the spoilers.
Nice.
Really?
And I was pretty wowed by it.
I saw Planes, Trains, and Automobiles this last Thanksgiving.
I love that movie.
I did not know there was like the weird twist at the end of that movie, and I was like, "How is this? My entire life, how has this not been?"
Spoilers
for Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
I've only seen the movie once. I saw it a couple years ago.
I love this movie. I love Steve Martin. I love John
enjoyed
Candy.
it. I was like, "This is a classic." I think it's one of those movies you really gotta just watch and watch.
Yeah.
Anyway, what's the twist? I don't remember.
The twist is
that John Candy's
wife is dead.
Yeah.
So he's
Yeah, that's a good one.
That tugs the old heartstrings. That John Hughes, he was good.
Yep.
I'm very curious what it would like. How big it seems like it's such a big moment for people when Vader, you find out Vader is his dad, and just Vader's always been his dad. I mean, I might not have even seen them in order. I might have been so young that like my mom had Return of the Jedi on right when I hit that moment of consciousness where it's just like, whoa, I'm an individual human being. Hey, what's going on at Jabba's? I don't know. I might have seen Jedi first.
So I'm looking at a list of the changes that were made in the Star Wars special editions. Some interesting ones. Most of it is a new CGI shot of whatever, added more creatures. I like this one in Empire. Lando says attention twice instead of once when he speaks on the Cloud City PA. Good to know that.
Like, did they use a better remastered take? Like, what is the thinking behind?
I would think they just doubled his saying once.
So what's the thinking behind that?
I have no idea.
It just sounds better. Attention.
No idea.
You want to get people's attention, and then you want to give one more just to make sure that they're listening. It's a pretty big deal evacuating Cloud City.
Yeah. 9 new characters were added to the Max Rebo band, all CGI, in the Return of the Jedi special edition.
So Lucas felt it shouldn't have been a jizz jazz band. It should have been more of a big band.
Yeah.
Oh, and I do remember this, and I didn't like it. The Sarlacc pit in Return of the Jedi. That's the monster that lives in the desert.
Right?
It has tentacles and like a big mouth that comes out. It used to be this hole with like these weird
teeth
things on it, and it was just scary because it's a hole you just fall into and you're dead. Adding like tentacles and things.
See, I feel like I only remember the tentacle version of
really?
That.
Yeah. I don't love it.
Yeah, it seems
I
unnecessary.
kind of want to watch Star Wars now. That's what this whole conversation, even when we were talking about Timothy McVeigh, I was like, I kind of want to watch Star Wars now.
I mean, that's Timothy McVeigh usually brings up either two reactions to people.
Yeah.
Like, what a horrible monster, that was such an awful day, or, I kind of want
Star Wars right now. I mean, you saw The Force Awakens, I'm assuming. I mean, everyone has. You've all seen it. You all saw
no, let's not do any spoilers. Some people might not have seen it.
I was going to say when you get Kylo Ren in this period.
At this point. Like, if you haven't seen Star Wars and you care about Star Wars, especially when this is coming out, which will be 72 weeks from now on.
It's October 2018 right
You guys are 100% right, but I am one of those, like,
I don't want to spoil it. I would never spoil it.
I can't stand when I don't like when I hate that I can't go on the internet like a day after Walking Dead because I can't like give me a few goddamn days. Just give me a few days to watch it. I'm busy.
Yeah.
So I honestly, especially with movies, big event movies, I think it should be a year. I think it should be like it's out on video. People have had time. It's not a current topic. It's not current events. It's history. It was, honestly, I feel like that's, people should wait. Like I said, Sixth Sense, I didn't see it for a couple of years, and
But thank God you even said you got lucky.
And that was before internet and social media. I almost feel like it's impossible now to avoid anything.
Well, it was before social media. It wasn't before internet. Because I was actually told I was told the twist in a chat room.
It was before I was on the internet.
No, it was 99. You were on the internet.
I got on the internet in September 99, yeah. But I was also a little, I was late to the game compared to other middle class white people that we went to school with.
Right.
But I was also pretty early compared to America as a whole getting the internet.
Right.
This is real quick. I had just this thought the other day. I was reading an article about post-millennials, which is what we're calling them right now. And these are teenagers. And they were talking about the big difference is millennials, us, our big difference from our parents is we grew up with the internet.
I hate the term millennial, by the way.
I know, I'm using it as shorthand. But we grew up with the internet, and that was such a fundamental difference from our parents. And then kids, the difference with post-millennials is they grew up with smartphones, having the internet right there, all there. And it just occurred to me that I always envisioned myself being like the cool adult that gets kids, and, I play video games.
You won't get anything that they're going to be into.
And it's like, I honestly... I'm not even close to understanding what their life is like. Not even just getting along with them. I don't like in terms of like empathy and sympathy. Not in terms of like I hope they suffer, but in terms of I can't even put myself in their shoes.
Allow me to blow your mind, Jack. You're gonna have a kid. You're gonna show them the Star Wars movies, and they might like the prequels better than the originals.
The prequels is another conversation. I don't like them, but I would defend them. I would defend them with nothing but negative comments in the way that I defended Point Break.
That special edition's much better. It added more CGI creatures.
I think they're somewhat. They're at the same time underrated and justifiably hated just as much as they should be at the same time. But no, it's such a shitty feeling that I really can't put myself in. And I think I've said this before on one of our podcasts, but as a writer and trying to write stories, it's kind of scary that there might be an entire audience that just doesn't give a shit about what I have to say.
Right.
Or that.
Hey, thanks for listening, everyone.
Or that I can't even communicate to them. I honestly, and I have a big imagination. I don't know if you noticed. I cannot put myself in this. I can't imagine what it's like growing up with a fucking smartphone and Snapchat and texting.
Yeah.
I don't get Snapchat now, let alone growing up with it.
No, it's already passed us by. I could do without
it's just
technology.
Scary. All that makes me feel better is that their kids will be in such a completely different world from them that they will feel they'll have the same existential crisis as me, and that makes me, I guess I don't have empathy for them. I guess I do want them to suffer.
Their kids will be living in the hive mind.
Poisoning the earth. So
Okay,
there we go.
That is it for this episode of 90s Percentile. Yeah. We've hit our 60-minute mark. So guys, how we always end the show. Harry, what did you learn today?
Well, I learned a lot about what happened on your birthday in 2001.
That's true. All right, Jack, what did you learn today?
I learned that the big spoiler I've been trying to avoid for Force Awakens is that Kylo Ren had his period. His Force Awakened.
And I learned more than I ever cared to know about Jizz Whale. So check out our website. It's weepodcast.com. That's weepodcast.com. You can get to our other show, which is Worst Episode Ever, a Simpsons podcast. You can get to our Sync Points, which is our movie commentary tracks. Check those out.
We got everything. We got everything. We got something for everybody, assuming you're a 30-something guy who likes pop culture.
Assuming you're exactly like us, we got something
or you want to talk about 9/11 for 10 minutes.
That's right. And you can follow us on Twitter at 90s Percentile. So
check us out there. That's 90s Percentile.
There you go.
Also, I have a podcast, guys. It's called Harry Says Yes. It's a lot of fun.
I was going to get to that, and you make us look like dicks.
No, you weren't going to.
I was. It was.
We weren't going to. You're right.
Yeah, I have a podcast. It's a lot of fun. These guys are going to be on it again pretty soon, hopefully.
Yeah,
maybe. Maybe we've already been on.
Yeah, maybe that's true.
Who knows? We don't even know what year it is right now. So,
but yeah, thanks for having me, guys. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, thanks for coming. I hope you're on again.
All right.
We can talk more about 9/11 and Oklahoma City. My name is Jack.
And my name is Dan, and we'll see you in another decade. This episode of 90s Percentile was brought to you by our friends at jock.com. That's JOQ.com. Websites, apps, everything digital. That's where you want to go. Jock.com.